The history of mathematics is indeed making history. That is, deciphering the history. Ironic, right? I know. It is almost impossible to accurately determine where the idea of numbers even started or how it came about. With different origins and styles, mathematics has been one of the missing puzzles in the history of life. Through this project, I will highlight the important parts of the history of mathematics. All theories of the history of maths go back to what is believed to be the oldest evidence of numbers. That, my friends, is the Ishango bone. The Ishango bone is a fibula of a baboon that was found in Central America, precisely Congo, in 1960. The bone has marks that can only be seen as tally marks in columns, or also. The bone itself is said to be more than 25,000 years old. Some trust that the lines could have been put there for a better grip of the bone, to be used for something else other than mathematics. Others believe that the lines on the bone are too arranged and lined that it cannot be accidental, and that it indeed was used for maths. Another step in the history of mathematics began in Samaria, which is now known as southern Iraq. It began in about 4,000 years BC. Sumerians had a population that was growing and thriving, and needed a way to keep track of it all and maintain order. Thus, the token system was formed, which is a very interesting and easy way of trading. For example, if I had 2 cows and I wanted to sell them to you, you would give me 2 tokens. If you killed one of your cows or traded them, one of the tokens would be removed. What does that sound like, guys? It sounds like subtraction. Yes, it is subtraction. The Sumerians created the subtraction method, which created arithmetics. They were also the first accountants with a system of clay tables which depended on proof. Now Egypt. Egypt is said to be the first civilization to invent symbols for different numbers. It started around 3,000 years BC. As commonly known, the Egyptians are recognized by their buildings of pyramids and empires. This, in fact, started the need for mathematics. With the need of measurements and exactness, they soon created a number symbol. They represented the number 1 as a vertical line, 10 as a heel bone, and had numbers for tens of thousands. The interesting part is that they wrote right to left. Now to India. Indians created a system of assigning a symbol to a number. This began around 400 years BC. They gave each number a symbol from numbers 1 through 9. The system later became known as the Arabic numerals. They first spread to Islamic countries before anywhere else. They also found weight and measurements, and this is where they created what we now know as decimals. They even created a decimal number system. And finally, Greece. The Greeks were introduced to mathematics by the one and only Pythagoras. This man is probably the most smartest man in history. He was one of the world's first mathematicians. He studied in Egypt and went to Greece to introduce maths to the Greeks who never knew. He invented odd numbers and even numbers in such a funny way, as odds being men and evens being women. He was a shining star until Archimedes came along, who was the absolute most brilliant mathematician of all. Inventing formulas, properties, and screws, this led the way for the future mathematicians. In present day, we now use what is known as the Arabic numeral system to count and as our numbers. But did you know any of its history? Did you even try to decipher it at all? Maths has paved a way for the future and is the key for unity. All these histories have something in common: to start a civilization. Who knows what's left to discover of the history of mathematics?